guys, it's Alyssa, and as you can tell from my title, I'm doing my first official bump date because we found out yesterday that baby has a heartbeat. Yay. So we went to the doctor yesterday for our very first ultrasound, and as you guys know, we've never had a positive ultrasound experience, or I guess you may not know if you're new, but I've never had a positive ultrasound experience. Every ultrasound has shown no heartbeat. So we were really nervous, but everything looked perfect. So I'll insert a picture. This is our little tiny 6-week and 3-day baby and yolk sac. So as you guys can see, baby is where it's supposed to be. It's in the uterine cavity. There's a yolk sac. We saw a heartbeat. The heartbeat was 130 beats per minute, which all around everyone agreed was a perfect heartbeat. They also said, the ultrasound tech and the RE, that they loved where baby implanted. Baby is up high in the middle of my fundus, so that's way at the top of the uterus, which they both said is exactly where they want to see baby. So that's really good. Everything looked great with baby, and I'll just walk you guys through our appointments now because it was sort of a show. For those of you who don't know, I'm under the care of a reproductive endocrinologist, or an RE, but my RE office is over an hour away. It's 85 or more miles away. But there's a small clinic run by the same healthcare organization that's in town. So for some of my appointments, I'm able to go to that small clinic and then do what's called telehealth. Basically, I do, like for yesterday, we did our ultrasound, and then we basically Skype with, we video chat with the reproductive endocrinologist. So it's a little bit weird and very rural. It ends up working out well, so we don't have to make that big long drive. But the problem is, you're then reliant on both clinics being on time, which if you have any experience with healthcare, you know that it's tough to even have one clinic be on time. So yesterday, we get to the clinic 15 minutes early like we're supposed to, and we ended up not going into our ultrasound until a half an hour after our ultrasound appointment. So I was an absolute wreck, like shaking, super nervous, I was sweating, it was horrible. I was so anxious for this appointment because I just couldn't wrap my head around the idea that it was going to go well. I just couldn't imagine it going well because they've always gone so poorly. Meanwhile, of course, Tim is trying to stay calm, and he's also fighting anxiety and trying not to get worked up himself, so it was crazy. We finally got in there, and thank goodness, the ultrasound tech, she was fantastic. She's the best ultrasound tech I've ever had. She was quick, she was efficient, and she told us exactly what she was seeing. We explained to her our history. She actually asked us some questions, which I found unusual. I feel like a lot of times ultrasound techs and like lab techs, they just kind of want to get you in and get you out, but she actually took the time to hear our concerns. And you know, I told her I was feeling really anxious, and she was like, well, talk to me about that. Why are you nervous? And she didn't even bother with abdominal, which I was so thankful for, because I always find it really ridiculous when I'm less than 7 weeks pregnant. You're not going to see anything. So she went right for the internal, and right away she fanned over the uterus, and she said, I see gestational sac, I see a yolk sac, and this is baby. And immediately I looked at the screen and we saw that little flicker, and it was just flickering away, and I immediately started crying, and she said, there's your heartbeat, and you could just see it. I mean, there's no other word for it. It was just flickering. So it was this bright white little circle in the very middle of baby, and it was amazing. So after we see the heartbeat, she does a quick scan of everything else, and she goes back to baby and zooms in, and she both let us listen to the heartbeat with the Doppler, and it was the most beautiful sound I've ever heard in my entire life. And she also showed us did a movement measurement of the heartbeat, and one came back at 130 beats per minute and the other came back at 129. Everything looked perfect. She was really quick and efficient, and we were done, and we left the ultrasound room. Okay, so we left our ultrasound and then we got to wait for another half an hour, just hanging out in the waiting room, waiting until the telehealth room was available. Long story short, we chatted with the RE, who was extremely busy. She was kind of funny. She came in, she was still wearing a gown and had a surgical mask around her neck, and she said, "Sorry, I just popped in from the procedure room." So I'm thinking some other lady had just had a procedure done. But she was super nice. She congratulated us and she told us that she thought everything looked great, and she ordered a couple of labs. I got a repeat progesterone lab done, as well as my thyroid retested. And I actually asked about my thyroid. I just mentioned that it had been a little while and I was wondering when they were going to retest, and she said, "Oh, we can do that today. It's been long enough." My progesterone came back this morning, actually, because it was a little later in the day, so it took them longer to get it back. And it came back at 17 and some change. It was close to 18. I don't remember what the decimal point was, which is really, really good, because if you guys remember, 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, it was down to 14 at one point, which was really scary, but it's back up to where it's supposed to. And my thyroid test came back really good at 2.7. It was all the way up to 3.6, I think, at its highest, and now it's back down into the 2s, so that's really good. They sent me a message this morning saying to continue my meds as I've been doing, so I'm not having any med changes at this point. They also scheduled me another ultrasound for next week. From my discussion with the reproductive endocrinologist, it sounds like she's going to have us do weekly ultrasounds from now until at least 10 weeks, just because she wants to make sure baby's growing on schedule, and she wants to make sure if something starts to happen or if something does happen, they catch it right away. So I guess that's everything as far as our appointments were concerned yesterday, but I thought I would just take a quick minute to talk to you guys about how I'm feeling this week as well, since it is my official 6-week update now. Oh, and I've decided I'm going to do my updates after my ultrasounds each week, because they should be every Wednesday from here on out. They want to try to do them exactly a week apart to get accurate measurements, growth measurements, I should say. But anyways, like I was saying, I just wanted to tell you guys how I was feeling this week. I've definitely felt an increase in fatigue this week. I have taken 2.5-hour naps this week, which have felt amazing. I wake up in the morning super early, which is not like me at all. I'm not a morning person. But I've been waking up really early, have been really productive in the mornings, and then by lunchtime I start to feel sluggish. After lunch, I am useless, and I've ended up taking really long naps a couple days. I've also felt an increase in all my indigestion. I've had morning sickness, I've had heartburn, I've had just like general queasiness, and I've actually had to visit the porcelain god a couple times. I've actually thrown up, which I will say is new. I haven't actually thrown up with any other pregnancies, I don't think. Maybe once. So while it's not fun, I'm taking it as a good sign. I've also had a couple of little tension headaches, but nothing like I was having the first couple weeks. I have had a couple of twinges in my uterus as well, but it hasn't been anything scary, no real cramping. Mostly it's when my bladder's really full. I found I kind of feel like a little bit of pulling, but once I empty my bladder and like relax a little, everything feels normal, and it's never painful. It's more just kind of like tension. I'm also still having some breast tenderness, and a little bit of an increase in the urgency to go to the bathroom, but nothing major. I'm feeling really sick in the afternoons, but in the mornings I'm feeling great. I'm just so excited that baby has a heartbeat. I feel so blessed, and I feel so relieved and happy. I'm also, of course, anxious that we're going to go back next week or the week after that, and something's going to have gone wrong. But the fact that they're letting me do or encouraging me or ordering me to do weekly ultrasounds makes me feel a lot better, because at least then I won't have so much time to worry. I'll be reassured more often, and I'll actually get to see baby grow, which I'm really excited about too. I don't know if they'll give me pictures every time, but I thought I would wrap up today with the 4 pictures we did get yesterday. There's a couple of baby and then one of just the yolk sac. So I will leave you guys with those. If you want to follow me on the rest of my pregnancy journey, Please feel free to subscribe. If you are a TTCer or a mama or a mama-to-be yourself, let me know, send me a message or leave a comment, and I'll be sure to go check out your channel. If you like this video, you can like it, and if you have questions or anything that you want me to talk about more, please leave a comment and let me know. I respond to every comment, or at least I try to. So anyways, I love you guys, and here are pictures of our little bear